a group of House Democrats are demanding more money for the FBI, requesting $570 million to go toward investigating domestic terrorism. Yes, they keep pushing this domestic terrorism. Their request, coming after the Durham report slammed the Bureau's conduct during the Trump-Russia probe. The FBI has been weaponized. We all know that. Back in June of 2017, I spoke with former Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta, and I questioned him about what was really going on in terms of the Democrats and their relationship with Russia as they were all trying to attack Trump prior to the 2016 election. Watch this. Do you find it odd that there's been so much attention on the Trump campaign and the Trump associates and potential collusion with Russians when, in fact, it's really the Democrats who have deeper and stronger ties to Russia? You were given 75,000 shares in a Russian company, which you failed to disclose when you became an Obama associate.
Maria, that's not true. I fully disclosed and was completely compliant.
But where did you divest it, John? A lot of people feel like you divested it to your adult children.
I divested it consistent with the advice that I was given by the White House counsel's office. The truth is, Vladimir Putin interfered in the U.S. election, and I'm surprised you're not concerned about that.
I am concerned about it, John. But the whole idea that there was any collusion with Trump that's where the narrative and the charade is, because everybody knows Russia's trying to undermine the U.S., has been for years. The story that the Democrats have been riding and this Trump collusion is simply not true, and we have no evidence of it. That was 2017. I am really enjoying these flashbacks back to 2017 when we identified on this program so many years ago that Trump collusion with Russia was made up, a complete lie. Joining me right now is former Georgia Congressman, ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee, Doug Collins. Congressman, who you've come on quite a few times over the years to talk about this. And we got more confirmation this week with the Durham report. Your reaction?
Well, again, Maria, it's not anything you and I have not known. And there's a part of me that says, look, we've been telling you this forever. This is just another confirmation. But what concerns me here, Maria, is the report, yes, confirmed everything that we know. It talks about it, the problems at the FBI. But even after saying the report stating that it should never have been started, should have never been continued, where was the accountability because it did, Maria? That's the part that I have a problem with. You and I have talked about this both on the show and off the show as well. This is the part that bothers me, that there's nobody, you say it's bad, but how do you fix it? And how do you hold those accountable who did it?
I mean, let's face it, we're still talking about the two applications of the law. We're still talking about how the FBI treated President Trump very differently than they treated President Biden when it comes to the classified document scandal, when it comes to Ukraine, when it comes to Russia. The Durham report also revealed that the FBI shut down, get this, shut down 4 separate criminal investigations into the Clinton Foundation. So they're handling Clinton with kid gloves. The FBI called off 3 probes in 2016, canceled another investigation in 2014, despite investigators receiving claims and information from a well-placed confidential source that foreign governments were trying to make illegal donations to gain influence. Doug, maybe Joe Biden learned it all from Hillary Clinton.
Well, everything seems to start and end at Bill and Hillary Clinton. But I mean, look, I think Joe Biden has his own network. It looks like from everything that's been reported, he's doing pretty well on his own. And again, the FBI not really caring about it as we go along. Maria, this is that two-tiered system of justice you and I've talked about. We saw it on display yesterday with the just terrible treatment of these folks from the FBI and how their status is. We've seen it now with the Clintons. We've seen it with Comey, with Strzok, Page, McCabe. You just go back to all of them. And the part here that bothers me is if it wasn't for shows like you or I talking about this or others that, that do, you got networks that just completely ignore this. And your interview just a few moments ago, this flashback with Podesta, where he said, I did what the law allowed me to do. The crazy part about that is the media on the other side will eat that up and say, oh, he was just following law. But if it has anything to do with Trump or Republicans or following the law, the Democrats or the mainstream media want to change it to say, well, that may be true, but it's still bad and you're bad. And I think that's the part that is tearing right now at the fiber of our country. And reports like the Durham report simply pointed out But when ignored, we'll have history repeat itself again and again. And that's why Christopher Wray, Merrick Garland really, frankly, need to go. And there does need to be a shakeup of culture at the top levels of the FBI, not the field officers who are trying to do their job, but the culture in Washington, D.C. that has been corrupted now going back to the Obama administration.
Yeah, I mean, especially since the Russia collusion lie made up by Hillary Clinton's camp, it tore our country apart. I mean, it tore us apart. And I'm proud of this program and my work, and Sunday Morning Future's work, to actually call that out. We saw it for what it was as far back as 2017. Meanwhile, I got to ask you about this. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis expected to announce his long-awaited presidential run next week. He reportedly told donors he's the only Republican that can beat President Biden. I spoke to pollster and former Trump senior counselor Kellyanne Conway about this yesterday, got her reaction to it. Watch what she said.
DeSantis has to go and win MAGA voters. How is he going to do that? He talks about COVID. The idea that in 2024, Republican primary voters want to talk about COVID is silly and a little too much on the woke.
Kellyanne, real quick, who do you think is going to be the GOP candidate?
Donald Trump.
It'll be Donald Trump.
And Ron DeSantis wasted 6 months, and he's got some really strong wins as a conservative governor in Florida in this latest session.
Yeah.
But Trump's so far ahead, and the base loves Trump, and they'll be there with him.
And a recent poll has President Trump up 43 points on DeSantis, Doug.
Yeah. At this point in time, Kelly's right. It's just Trump's path to victory right here. And DeSantis getting in, I think the thing that has been the most interesting to watch Ron DeSantis is wait for these few months while being vetted for the first time really on a national stage. We knew him, people knew him in Congress a little bit. They knew him running for governor in a state, which is completely different. But when your policies and your actions get vetted on a national stage with somebody like Donald Trump, yeah, it's going to get shown, and right now it is Donald Trump's. But I disagree with Ron DeSantis. Republicans can beat Joe Biden if we as Republicans make the clear case that America under Joe Biden has gone wrong, and we've got to get back to the right way.
I don't think that's a hard case to make. I mean, look at everywhere you look. It's incredible. There's a fire to put out everywhere. Doug, thank you. It's always a pleasure to see you. Hope you're doing well. Doug Collins this morning. Thank you, sir.
Take care, Maria.